What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Bridging the Gap here on the Jersey First TV network. As always, I'm AJ Malillo,
And I'm Stephen Rombolo.
and I'm super excited to be back with you guys. It is Christmas Eve at the time that this is airing. It's a couple of days before Christmas Eve at the time we're recording this. So, Merry Christmas to everybody who celebrates Christmas. If you don't celebrate Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. Happy holidays, whatever you do celebrate. We hope you're having a wonderful time with your friends and family, and that's ultimately what's most important. Whether it's Christmas or anything else, spending time with the people you love is always essential during this time of year. So
That's what it is. There's something in the air. It's that joy, holiday cheer. Maybe I don't know. I've been feeling it a ton. I've spent a week. Just been spending time with people that I love, and it's so
right,
fulfills the soul, fulfills the heart. It's a great way to end a year and start anew. As we inch closer and closer to 2023, which is craziness. But yeah, happy Jersey First holiday to everybody out
yeah.
there.
Well, you
It's
know what? I'll say
wonderful.
this. Let me ask you, Steve. This will be our first little topic, and it might be a tough one for you. Number one favorite Christmas song and Christmas movie.
Easy. Little Saint Nick by the Beach
Okay,
Boys.
hey,
Runner
that's a
up.
good one.
Runner up is Santa Claus is Coming to Town, Bruce Springsteen.
By the Boss, naturally.
Rock on. And then Christmas movies, that's always a tough one for me because to me it's all the same, but not really. I, I don't know. I'm a big fan. Pure nostalgia. You throw on a Tim Allen Santa Claus,
Ah,
preferably the one with Martin Short where he plays Jack Frost. I
so
think
that's the
that's
third
three.
one. Yeah, that's the
Yeah,
third one.
I love that one because it's such a great just battle of good and Christmas bad, and you see at that point the story's developed over two movies. Tim Allen's a little bit fat in real life then, so it's really more believable. No, but that's for me the meat and potatoes of Christmas art consumption, media consumption. Give me a Little Saint Nick from the Beach Boys and Santa Claus 3, Tim Allen special. I'm happy as a clam.
I like it. I like it. Those are two solid choices. I always get made fun of because I'm such a big nostalgia Christmas guy, and I'm kind of
Mhm.
like a sad Christmas, not sad Christmas, but like thinking of Christmas in a different way. So my favorite Christmas song is "Where Are You Christmas," the
Yeah,
Faith
I
Hill
knew that.
song from The Grinch, right? And
Yep.
I don't think it's a sad song. I think it's a
It's
beautiful, uplifting song, but
yeah.
it is
Uplifting's a good
sad.
word.
Um,
Uplifting's a good word.
yeah, yeah. Like it's about refinding Christmas. It's
Yeah.
different. Christmas is different as you go through your life. So it's
Oh,
refinding that
absolutely.
magic. So I love that song. That's my number one favorite Christmas song. And I have to agree. Number two is definitely The Boss. It's definitely
Yeah.
Santa Claus is Coming to Town. That's such a solid song. And the Clarence Clemens
Yep.
saxophone solo gets me every single time. It's perfect.
Unbeatable.
It's perfect. And then my favorite Christmas movie. So I got two, and they're slightly different ideas, right? It's a Wonderful Life, I think, is a perfect Christmas
I knew
movie. I think
that.
it's the perfect Christmas movie. All other ones pale in comparison. But, but it's Christmas Day. You just open your presents with your family and everything.
I know where
That's
this is
not the
going.
movie I'm putting on. I'm putting on Jingle All the Way by, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger and
Yep.
Sinbad.
Yep. Yep.
That movie is pristine. Just, having your Christmas breakfast after opening Christmas presents. That's the movie you got to put on. It's perfect. It's wonderful. It's fun. It's just terrific.
You know what? While we're talking about this, I need like a 10-second soapbox. I am tired of movie channels that play A Christmas Story 24 hours on Christmas Day. There are so many better Christmas films. Put on a variety. I don't care how many times I've seen it. It's nostalgic. You're gonna shoot your eye out. The Red Ryder BB gun, whatever it is, Red Roger BB gun, whatever it is. It's old. It's overplayed. The chandelier. Fine, I get it. I've seen it. We've all seen it. I don't want to turn on TV Christmas Day and have to look at the same movie 15 times in a row. You put on Die Hard. How about that for a Christmas movie? Die
play it
Hard,
like
Christmas movie.
play
You know
it
what?
play it once or twice. You know what they should do? The thing about A Christmas Story should be played from like 10 p.m. Christmas Eve until
Yep.
like 10 a.m. A
Yep.
solid 12 hours
Yep.
while everybody's asleep anyway.
Correct. Correct. Santa can watch it when he's, dropping presents off at the houses.
Exactly.
I want to take another 2 second soapbox here, and I want to throw a question to you, and I want to open it to the Jersey First TV viewers. Die Hard Christmas movie, yes or no? I'm hard on the yes.
So I think the thing about what makes a Christmas movie, right,
Hmm.
is can it take place at any other time and it makes sense? Does that make you know what I'm trying to say? Like, does it have to take place at Christmas time for it to make sense? And I feel like a
Well,
lot of the plot is based around it being Christmas.
Christmas, yeah, it's a Christmas
Right. Like
party.
it's a Christmas party. A lot of that plot is based around it being
Yeah,
Christmas time, and I feel like a lot of it doesn't make sense if you take it out of Christmas time.
correct.
So therefore, yes, it's a Christmas movie, right? It's like
Perfect.
you take another movie. You take I don't know, like even It's a Wonderful Life, and you make it not around Christmas time. I still think you can make that movie make sense. It just works better for
With
Christmas.
Christmas, yeah.
Yeah. So
I'm interested to hear what the people, our Jersey First
yeah,
listeners think.
shoot it in the comments. Shoot it in the comments on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Vimeo, wherever you're watching.
Wherever you're watching.
All right, but Steve, we do have some stories to get to.
We do
So
some
there
good
has been
ones.
some news that took place, and I think that the biggest news right now, it actually pretty much just passed earlier this morning,
Yep.
is that officially the omnibus package has passed through the US Senate, so therefore we are avoiding a government shutdown. So, whoop-de-doo, right? So it's
Woo!
what, $1.7 trillion dollars in this package.
I just want to put out there, even if you think you know how much money that is, you
You
have
don't.
no idea how much money that
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. 1.65 trillion.
And I think the proper way, if I was going to journalize this, is it's $1.6 trillion of your money. This,
Right, of course.
just to really like hammer home when you hear what we're about to play for you, and what some of these large sums of money are going to. Just remember your money.
Yeah, and I just a little bit of sort of groundwork here. It was a bipartisan bill. It has to be. It passed 68 to 29. It included $858 billion in military spending, 45 billion of which is going to which is 45, I'm sorry, 45 billion more than President Biden had requested. And about 10% up from the 782 billion last year. Um, a lot of that money is going over to Ukraine. Um, there was also things in the bill for non-defense discretionary spending that's up 6% up to $772.5 billion, and the discretionary price tag works out to about 1.65 trillion compared to 1.5 trillion from the prior fiscal year. There were changes to the 1887 Electoral Count Act. There was widening on bans of TikTok, like we have been talking about. It was $45 billion to Ukraine and NATO. And there was an amendment to Title 42, which is the pandemic era public health measure to allow the government to put migrants back into Mexico that were trying to come across. So it's an omnibus bill. There's a lot in it. There's a lot of stuff. And I think that I have two clips here from Senator from Kentucky, Rand Paul. He always has some sort of good content, whether you agree with him or not. I think it's entertaining and fun to listen to him break down the bills like this. And there's two clips. I think they're about 2 minutes each, but maybe a little bit less. So we're gonna go to the Senator Rand Paul clips right now. So this is him. He literally wheeled in the bill, right? And this is him
It's
talking about it.
did you mention that it's over 4,000 pages?
Right, right. He'll mention that. It is over
Yeah,
4,000 pages. Yes.
and it was
So
voted on in how many hours?
he'll get into that. I think they had like a
Okay.
day and a half.
Yeah, 4,000 pages to
Right.
spend 1.65 trillion of your dollars.
Yes. So here is Senator Paul. Excuse me. I'm sorry. I think that I shared the wrong clip here. Let me just
Well, I can throw some interesting information at you while AJ figures
Sure.
that out, because I found it quite interesting. News broke essentially about a month ago, and I think it's just fun to run it back here. You talked about the tremendous amount of money that we give the United States military. Last month, the Department of Defense failed. You ready for this? Its fifth consecutive audit on how it spends its money. I mean, let's see. I'm pulling up an article here. 27 areas investigated the Department of Defense's bookkeeping. Only 7 of them earned a clean bill of financial health. This is the only U.S. government agency to have never passed a comprehensive audit of their budget and discretionary spending. So we are just signing these big old blank checks, and we have no idea
Where
where
it's
this
going.
money actually goes. Isn't that wonderful news, America?
So we
800
got
and something billion dollars that we just don't know where it went, but it was spent somewhere. I don't know about you, AJ. I like to know where my money goes.
Well, that's fair. And I got the right Rand Paul clip. So let's hear what he has to say about this $1.7 trillion bill.
With me, the Omni, 4,155 pages. When was it produced? In the dead of the night, 1:30 in the morning when it was released. Now, people argue that it's conservatives' fault. You don't have the Christmas spirit. Somehow you're holding up government. Well, whose job is it to produce this? The people in charge of spending, the people in charge of both of the parties. When did they know that this would be necessary? Well, it's in the law, September 30th. You got 9 months, almost 10 months to produce a plan, to have a spending plan. They weren't ready on September 30th, so they voted themselves 90 more days. They weren't ready last week either, so they voted themselves another week. And now we have it at 1:30 in the morning this morning. But what's the clamor? The clamor is to vote. Vote now. Let's get it done. Why are you standing in the way of spending? Well, the real question is this. What is more dangerous? What is more dangerous to the country? $1.1 trillion in new debt, or as Republican leadership likes to say, oh, but it's a win. It's a big win. We're getting $45 billion for the military. So which is more important? Which threatens the country more?
So obviously, he goes in to talk about how the debt is a bigger problem than being invaded by a foreign adversary or anything like that. And I love that he calls it the Omni. I think that's very funny. Um, but then there's one more clip that I want to show again from the same press conference of Senator Paul. And I think that this one might be even better.
Every day in the hallway, they say, are you going to hold up this spending bill? Are you going to be the fly in the ointment that allows government to shut down? Instead of the honest answer, when did they learn that there was a deadline for spending, and why didn't they meet the deadline? The deadline for spending is September 30th. Every year, they didn't meet it. They were given 90 additional days. And last week, that deadline came, and they didn't meet it. They were given an additional week, and with that week mostly gone, they come forward and say, and then all of a sudden, it's conservatives' fault for blocking this? No, they know the rules. The rules of the Senate haven't changed. It takes a week to pass a bill in the Senate. And people say, are you going to hold it up? No, it's like, am I going to grant a speeding up of the bill, an expediting of the bill? This is about us doing a special favor to the people who are bankrupting the country. They're in charge. They know the deadlines. It is all on them. These people I would not put in charge of a Minute Mart and 3 gas stations, much less a $6 trillion economy.
I think he's so good. I really do. He's so funny. He's clearly like a brilliant man. He's a doctor, and I wouldn't put them in charge of three Walmarts and a gas station or whatever he says. I think it's perfect.
I think the best thing about any time, well, I have like 2 thoughts about this, right? AJ and you and I, we've been at this for quite some time. This whole political commentary gig that we got going, right? Whether it be back in college, 2017, right? 5 years at this point of solid commentary. I don't think there has been a single year where we haven't had this exact moment. Like it's might as well be a special on our show where it's like, oh, here comes Rand Paul and he's gonna do a funny bit about this government omnibus bill that was delayed. And like he said, the rules don't change. The deadline's the same. We know this. This happens every year, and every year just as reliably as the Senate is to cram this in our faces, a week before a government shutdown. So is Rand Paul here for the comedic relief. And I love the way that he talks about these things, because he makes these very serious points, but he speaks about it with this sort of, I don't even want to say sarcasm, but it's like this almost, I want to call it like a you got to be kidding me attitude. Like we're doing this again, and we're spending this money here and this money there, and forever. I forget which year it was, but my favorite is when he had the actual like boards that had these crazy programs that it was like $12 million to this program that funds goat herding in Afghanistan to advance whatever particular very niche American interest. Like the guy does his due diligence, and like you said, like him or not politically, he's a smart man, and he's a guy that I would trust with 3 mini marts in a gas station. That's for sure.
No, he's very, very bright and brilliant political sort of persuasion techniques of making this what is a complex thing, right? You're talking thousands of pages of bills, billions or trillions of dollars going out, and he breaks it down, he makes it simple, and he's like, look, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why are we doing this time and time again? And I think at the end of the day, what this comes down to is they feel these crunches on time. It's like expert procrastinators. Basically, the way that I look at Congress is you put all of the people that were good at procrastinating in high school and college into a room together and expect them not to procrastinate. But now they're procrastinating on things that literally affect the entire country and everybody in it. All 330 million people are counting on them to not be procrastinators anymore. But they're the kid that says, no, I work best under pressure. It's like, yeah, okay, screw you. You know what? That's fine when you're trying to get an A. I don't really care when you're trying to get an A for yourself. I do care when you're trying to get, things done for me and the rest of the taxpayers in the country.
It's a valid point. And I would even open that up and say, like you said, it's a $6 trillion economy. It ain't just the 300 million Americans inside, the borders. With these programs, like you said, we're sending almost $45 billion to Ukraine, like, and have whatever opinions you will about that. But it's decisions that affect the rest of the world when it comes down to it, because government shutdowns and, the consequences of this bill blow out of the borders of this country. So they're not just procrastinators who are like delaying, work and diminishing your chance of like, quote unquote, getting the A. It's like, they're not going to ruin it for the class. They're going to ruin it for the grade. Right. Type thing. Like it's not just the 20 kids that are like, you're sharing the classroom with. It's like every single sophomore at this university, whatever it might be. No, so it's consequential.
And it's 4,000 pages, and they give it to you in the dead of night, 2 days before it has to be voted on. And I heard one commentator put it, I think it was like, if you had the Bible, the Iliad, the Divine Comedy, and some other like really long text, that's how many pages this is. And you had to read it all in a day and a half. And then tell me what everything was about.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, it's impossible. Nobody is going to do that. And obviously, they have a bunch of staffers that are now going to be up all hours of the night, maybe trying to read this bill. But we all know the reality is, okay, Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer and Mitch McConnell, they want it to be signed, so it gets signed. You don't have to read it. What did Nancy Pelosi say one year? We don't. We'll read it after we vote on it. We'll figure out what's in it after we pass it. No. Break these up into smaller bills throughout the year, like any sensible American says that you should do, and know what you're voting on. It's not rocket science. It is not rocket science. And we have a bunch of people. We have about 565 people, including the Senate and the House, that literally their whole job is to vote on bills, and they wait until the last hour to do so. And they meet. It's not like in some states, the representatives meet once every 6 months or something like that. No, they meet all the time. They could be voting on these things all year long, but they're not, because they don't care. Because there's no repercussions. People don't get voted out.
Well,
how often does an incumbent get voted out?
What I thought was so interesting just like to prove that point, is when he said they knew the deadline, they knew they weren't going to make it, they voted to give themselves another 90 days, they knew this, they knew that, they approved this. It's like you administer punishment to yourself, you're never going to punish yourself as bad
Right.
as you should be. Like that's what it comes down to. And it's unfortunate, again, because these are people that, will sit to you on TV, on Twitter, on Instagram, Facebook, whatever channels of media that these people communicate with you on. And they're going to promise you these things. They're going to tell you these things. They're going to sell an idea. They're going to sell a personality. You're going to vote for them, send them to Washington. And then what are they going to do? They're going to take your money. They're going to spend it how they want. They're not going to tell you about it. And you're going to have to suck it up and live with $1 trillion of debt now.
And it's going to
How
be
is
the
that a
same
functioning
people.
system?
Right.
How
and
is
it's
that
going
a
to be
functioning system?
same people, different names.
Exactly.
Same people, different names. And
Every
later
time.
on in that clip, Rand Paul says something that is brilliant. He's like, you know what we do? We just spend 99% of what we spent the year before. Instead of adding to the debt, we spend 99% of what we did before. And in 10 years, guess what? You're in a surplus. Literally, we don't even have, if we just cap spending, right? Okay, $1.65 trillion. That should be plenty of money. So we cap it there. We say every year, this is how much money we're going to spend. Allocate it however Congress wants, but we can't spend more than this money. We're going to cap it there. Guess what? Eventually, 15 years down the line, we'll be in a surplus again. It's not that hard. Again, I guess I'm an ideologue. I guess I'm young and naive.
Yep.
I just I don't get it.
I long for the days, even though I was but a toddler, where we had the wholesome friendship of Bill Clinton and Newt Gingrich, and
the contract with America.
I was just saying we could have a nice budget surplus and be doing well. But hey, too much to ask for.
Steve, we don't have a lot of time today. It is Christmas Eve when this is being put out, so we didn't want to spend too much of your time. So let's go to the next one. And you talk about people that are doing well, I guess. How about this study that came out of the University of Chicago? The existing unemployment benefits and the dramatic recent expansion of the Affordable Care Act, Obamacare, has subsidized families of 4 with 2 unemployed parents to be able to make the same post-tax income as families earning $80,000 per year in salary plus healthcare expenses in 14 of our 50 states, right? So that's $80,000 a year. In 3 of those states, it's over $100,000 per year. One of those states is the great state of New Jersey at $108,857,000. The other 2 states, both above New Jersey, are Massachusetts and the state of Washington. So, yeah, in the great state of New Jersey, right, we're number 3 on the list. $108,000, almost $109,000 of money that these people that aren't working, as long as they have a family of 4, right, are gaining. So you're incentivizing people not to work. You're paying people more money to not work than to work, because most people don't make $100,000 a year in their job.
I don't.
Right. So it's like, at that point, if you're being told, here's $109,000, you don't have to work, you have Affordable Care Act benefits, you have unemployment benefits, and you have 2 kids, you're good. Why would you work?
I wish I had a good answer for you, but you know what? Those numbers are really compelling. Money talks.
Right. It's your family, right? A family of 4. But both of your parents worked your entire life.
True.
Right?
True.
So according to this, they didn't play their cards right.
Listen, I mean,
or at least if they were doing it now, let's say you and your sister were still young, they should both pretty much stop working, because $109,000, you're doing pretty okay. You could go on vacation with that money. You could do whatever you want.
You're doing okay, but I mean, this is something that I think would require a much more in-depth conversation, because I'm not going to sit here and attempt to justify what is, functionally a welfare state. Because again, that is like, we could do a whole chronicles on that. But I mean, I would be interested to see what those numbers look like, 1 to 50, how they're ranked, what those incomes are, and how that compares to the average cost of living in these places. And, is it comparable? Like, is the $100,000 in New Jersey, who's ranked number 3, going to compare to, and these are pure numbers that I'm just making up right now, the $80,000 that you make in 26th ranked Texas? Like, you know what I mean? Because at that point, just because we have the more buzzwordy number, does that mean that that money has the same sort of spending power elsewhere? Like, is it really that great of a disparity, or are we all kind of playing on the same playing field? It's just, tends to be a more expensive state to live in. So,
Sure. I mean, it's a more expensive state to live in. I understand that is the state of New Jersey, right? I don't think that that's a question, but still making over $100,000 a year. So right, just on unemployment, and the survey's linked in our shows, so you could do more investigation into it. But the earned income equivalent is $96,000 per year. So that's about $24 an hour. And then the Affordable Care Act benefit is another $333,000 per year, which includes income limits by state. I'm sorry. So that's the income limits by state for the Affordable Care Act to exchange their plans for subsidies. So basically, you have to make over $300,000 to exchange that subsidy that is given for the Affordable Care Act. So it's a lot of money that people are making. The bottom line that people are able to make without working, and they're still getting healthcare. So it's not like, well, okay, fine, you're making that much money, but you don't get any healthcare. You do get healthcare. So you're incentivizing Americans not to work, which at the end of the day, like, sure, should there be a social safety net for people that, are out of work and trying to find a job? Absolutely. Should there be sort of a net to catch you if you fall? Yeah, I'm not going to say that there shouldn't be, but you should still be, at the end of the day, incentivizing people to go into the workforce. We have some of the lowest workforce rates in the history of our country right now, dating back to COVID. And we're not making it any better. We're not telling people that they should go back to work by these policies.
I mean, I'll say this much. I think it's hard to have an opinion on it other than recognizing that it's a problem, because I don't disagree with anything that you said. I think that this is a story, this is a survey that gives us an opportunity to kind of, as loudly or silently as we want to, sound the alarm on, if this trend continues, what is going to happen to the functionality of our society, right? That's the big question here, is how is this de-incentivizing work going to impact, the next generation of Americans? Because, I mean, there's a billion, you could look at an Andrew Yang, right? And this is a guy who, 4 years ago at this point, I guess 2016 is when he ran, was it 2016 or was it 2020? He ran 2020. Okay, so 2 years ago, was running on this universal basic income, right? Because in his world, we're progressing towards this automated life, and work is going to become different. The way that we navigate the markets and economies and this sort of purchasing and spending is going to look different. How we produce things is going to be different. There might not necessarily be all these jobs that we used to have, because technology, AI, machinery are going to replace it. So there's a lot of strings to pull on this. I think it's a staggering number. I think it's, like I said, we are poised in a great position to, like I said, as loudly or silently as we want to, sound the alarm on this and bring attention to the fact that, regardless of if you have an opinion on it and the effects of it, it's something that we need to pay attention to. It's something that you can kind of look at on its face and say, this is probably not a good thing.
Yeah, no, I think you're right in a lot of ways. And I don't think that Andrew Yang is necessarily wrong. Like, obviously, we're heading towards more of an automated society. And maybe at some point in our society, a universal basic income is going to make sense. First of all, we're not at that point right now. And second of all, it's like, human beings need to work. They need to be doing something productive with their time. It's kind of built into our biology. It's something that everybody knows. There is a sense of pride that comes out of working, and it leads into a whole bunch of other things that we've talked about extensively on the shows. It's like we have a mental health crisis. We have people that feel worthless in our society, and then we incentivize them to not do things that brings people worth and value. Like working is thought of in our society, especially in our generation, as a bad. I think there's a lot of people out there that's saying, why would you, don't put your time and effort into working? Like that's not where your life actually happens. And sure, there's a lot of that's true, but there is a pride in working and doing well in your job to earn a paycheck, to earn money that is deeper than just, adding zeros to your bank account or whatever the case may be. There is a deeper human need to feel like you are part of something bigger, a bigger society. You're giving back to the society that's giving you something. And I think it's a shame and it's a sham to tell people that they shouldn't be giving a lot to what they do for a living, what they do to work. I think that you should. And you know what? Even if you're a cashier making minimum wage, you know what? Be the best damn cashier making minimum wage you could possibly be. Don't give me this BS half-assed attitude of I'm just gonna, do the bare minimum. I can't get on board with that. Be the best person you can be, and I promise you your life will be better and feel better at the end of the day than the person that says, you know what, I'm only getting minimum wage, so I'm going to do minimum work. Like, no, that's not going to make you feel good.
I don't know if we have enough time to get into my reaction to that. I think there has to be a healthy balance, and how you achieve that balance, the most important thing for me is that sense of fulfillment, and nothing about earning a minimum wage for my maximal effort is fulfilling. And I'll leave it at that.
I think there's a difference between getting screwed over, like not getting what you're putting in, and there's a difference there between getting screwed over and not putting in the effort that you should, because you feel like you deserve more. There's a difference.
I really admire people who go out and make their own money for themselves and not at the behest of anybody else.
Sure, but that takes a lot of hard work too.
That takes a lot of hard work, but that's what I mean when I say the fulfillment has to come from the self. And I think a lot of the angst about working is we live as much as we want to, and I've said this before too, America, we're founded on capitalism, but we are a corporatist society. We are run by corporations who seek profit. And it's hard not to be a cog in a machine. You look at the horror stories that come out of places like Amazon, you know what I mean? And it's hard not to feel like that sometimes when we live in a corporatist society. And so again, I'll just reiterate, there is nothing fulfilling about giving my maximum effort and receiving a minimum wage, being a cog in a machine that produces much more money for very few individuals. There's nothing inspiring or fulfilling about that. And I can understand complete angst and at that system. And
the only place that I'll push back on is that doing the best you can in that situation that you're describing is still going to be more fulfilling than doing nothing at all.
I don't know that.
I really, really, really do believe that. But we can move on to the next one. That could be another topic for another day. So Steve, let's hear this last story before we wrap up here.
Yeah. So this is, I mean, I feel like we've been doomy and gloomy about money this episode. So at least for the great state of New Jersey, this is good news. I have my little handy dandy notebook here I'm going to be reading off of, because these are some big important numbers about a deal that just cleared last night. Well, let me back up on this. If you saw Governor Murphy's tweet about this or read his statement, it sounds like it was like, woohoo, this is happening. That's not really the case. There's still a period of due diligence and like some local laws and stuff that have to get worked out, but it's basically set in stone that Netflix is going to win the bid for the old Fort Monmouth. It's a 292-acre facility in Monmouth, New Jersey. They put in a bid. I think it was about $53 million with the promise of $848 billion in investments after that initial investment. But this is great news for the state because once approved and once this goes underway, they are going to construct 12 sound stages totaling 500,000 square feet in the state of New Jersey. And it's going to serve as their basically East Coast production headquarters, which is awesome. The construction of this, they're guaranteeing at a minimum 3,500 jobs. And it was hard for them to give Netflix, when I refer to they, I'm talking about Netflix, it was hard for them to give a good estimate on permanent jobs, but it's somewhere in between 1,400 to 2,000, 2,200 new jobs. It, for me, and the local area here, Monmouth County, it's on Route 35, which is a whole 30 minutes away from where I live. So this is great news. And there was a report that came out over the next 20 years. It's expected that this new facility with Netflix, their operations, all of the jobs, productions that are going to come out of this place can add anywhere between $3.8 to $4.6 billion to the New Jersey economy. So this is a partnership that I'll tell you right now, I am so happy to hear is going to be coming to New Jersey. I hope that we can land more things like this. New Jersey really is at the forefront, in my opinion, of culture. And we talk about this all the time. New Jersey's produced some of the greatest artists, actors, like musicians. It makes sense to have an entertainment hub for probably the biggest entertainment, curator and creator in the market right now in our great state. So I'm excited to see how this deal progresses. I'm excited to see what this looks like. I mean, 12 sound stages, 500,000 square feet. It's on 292 acres of property. Like this ain't no small job that Netflix is putting in on us here. So I'm excited. This is good news. It's going to be a boost for the economy. It's going to put, a few thousand jobs in our area. And I don't know, man, who knows? Maybe I'll get to catch I don't know, who's a cool actor? Brad Pitt coming and filming a movie around here, who knows? It's exciting. It's new industry, booming industry that's coming to our great state and something that we should all be excited about, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that it's a pretty cool deal. And I think that it also helps. I think something that maybe wouldn't be talked about that much is a lot of New Jersey universities are really, really good art schools. They're really big in performing arts, in television production, things like that. Montclair State's one of them. Monmouth University is one of them, right? So it's almost like gonna be cool. We could keep a lot of that talent that we're sort of losing, and then gain a lot of talent from the surrounding states. New York is close to Monmouth, like at an hour and a half away. So there's going to be a lot of talent that can be gained from New York. There's going to be a lot of traction to this area. Sort of almost like, look, I think that it's a pejorative that the right wing has put onto Phil Murphy, and I think a lot of it rightfully so, that Phil Murphy wants to make New Jersey the California of the East. But this is one of the cool ways that he could do that. Like, I think as a whole, I want New Jersey to be the furthest thing from the California of the East. But I guess if there's a little bit of that sort of Hollywood production being done and that economy building, then maybe that part's not so bad.
It ain't too bad. Listen, I think Netflix has struck gold and they have a very welcome home. And I will welcome them with open arms to my great state, my neighborhood, my neck of the woods, if you will.
Yeah, I think that's pretty awesome. Hopefully we'll see a lot more of the Jersey Shore itself featured in these productions too.
Let's do it. Who knows, man? We're charming.
Then you build up tourism even more to the Jersey Shore.
Yeah. Listen, we're charming young fellas. Maybe we could go get a Netflix deal. Who knows?
Yeah, who knows? Knock on the door.
I was gonna say it's right up the road. Start knocking.
What's up, Mr. Flix? What's going on? But anyway, look, we're running out of time here on Bridging the Gap, so that's going to wrap it up here. I hope everybody has a Merry Christmas and a Happy Holiday. If you don't celebrate Christmas, if you do celebrate Christmas, enjoy that time with your family. Enjoy Christmas Eve with your family, Christmas Day. And I hope to see you all next week, where I think that our show will be airing on New Year's Eve come next
Yeah.
week. So we got 2 of the major holidays in a row, but we will have a show. So don't you worry.
I got one question for you.
Yeah, I got one answer for you, Steve.
Since it is, as you know, we're putting this out you got me saying New Year's now. Christmas Eve. Dude, what are you looking forward to tomorrow? You wake up, Santa Claus made his delivery. What are you hoping's under that tree?
Oh, what's under the tree? That's a great question. I didn't really ask for that much. There's some practical things that I asked Santa for. I needed some new shoes, things like that.
Yeah.
But I can't say that I'm hoping for one thing in particular. It's gonna be cheesy. It's gonna be a sort of a cop-out answer, but I'm just hoping for a good time with my family at the end of the day. Just kind of hanging out. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. The best gift I get every year. I get the same gift every year, and it's not from Santa Claus. So it's my nanny's Christmas cookies. You know.
I
They're the
know.
best.
They are the best.
So
They are the best.
that's the best gift I get every year. I already got it.
They are the best. They are the best.
What about you, Steve? What are you hoping Santa Claus brings?
I'm hoping Santa Claus brings me a Rolex and a new car.
Well, fair. Okay. Well, if we're going that far, I don't think that's in Santa's budget, but
that's not in Santa's budget. No. I listen. As fun as that is, I'm the same way, man. I genuinely just this is gonna be a weird Christmas. I don't want to put her on blast, but my sister's boyfriend is gonna be enjoying Christmas with us, and it's the first
fun.
Interfamilial Christmas. So I want my gift to be that, not being as awkward as it's gonna be in my head. So that's what I want for Christmas.
Wait. Now I need to dig in a little bit. So is Lauren's boyfriend's family going to be there? Is it going to be a joint family thing, or is it just him?
I don't know. All I know is that he's coming and maybe somebody else. He might be tagging somebody from his family. So
okay.
We're this close. The details are scarce, and I want Santa to just deliver a nice, happy, loving, new familial Christmas.
Sure. Well, you know what? Here, let's put it this way. I know your family. I know your sister's boyfriend. I think that you guys will have a great time. I think it'll be a very fun Christmas, and you'll play games and be merry. Just make sure that there's plenty of eggnog flowing. That's all I'll say.
Yes, certainly will be.
And not just regular eggnog. Not just regular eggnog. Get a little rum in that eggnog.
That's what we do.
Right. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful week. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, and we will talk to you all next week. I'm AJ Malillo.
I'm Steve Rombolo.
Have a good one, everyone. Merry Christmas.